It's Locked On MLB Game Night. I'm Jake Riepma. He's John Frisch. And on tonight's episode, the Red Sox get blown out. The Padres bats come alive. And oh yeah, Tarik Skubal and Paul Skenes were dealing. Let's talk about it next on a live Locked On MLB Game Night starting right now.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Oh, yes, here we go. Let's get it going. Jake Riepma alongside John Frisch. Good evening. Good morning, my friend. How are you? And we got a lot of baseball to talk about.
I know for a Monday, we got some good baseball to talk about. First of all, shout out to can we call him the night shift? Are we okay with that, Jake? The night shift for our MLB Game Night crew?
I think we can go with that. It's great to have everybody back. However you're listening, thanks for making Locked On MLB Game Night your post-game destination. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts and, of course, on YouTube. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use that code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com. That's LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And John, let's buckle up and dial it in. Busy day across Major League Baseball to get to. We begin with the Boston Red Sox and Tampa Bay Rays, an absolute beat down. The Rays bats come alive and then some.
Yeah, my first thought, and I said this to you before the show, Jake, was, oh no, Red Sox. Oh no, what happened? But I'll tell you what happened, Jake, and I experienced this as an Angel fan. George Steinbrenner Field, where the Rays are playing right now, that they borrowed from the Yankees, the ball flies around that yard. And for the most part, it flies out to right field. They even have the same dimensions as Yankee Stadium with the short porch. But man, if it's early in the day, if it's hot, the ball is flying around that yard. The Rays were victim of that against the Angels a few days ago, but now the Rays turn the tide on the Red Sox 16-1. Jake, every Rays starter had an RBI and a run scored in this game. You had home runs from Yandy Diaz, Junior Caminero, 2 home runs from Cameron Meisner, and then, of course, Shane Baz was phenomenal on the mound. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned, and 11 strikeouts. Shane Baz is back, baby, and he's showing everybody why, despite the injuries, he's still somebody that you can count on in this Rays rotation, right?
No doubt about that. And on the flip side, the Boston Red Sox, who have now fallen 2 games below the 500 mark at 8-10, and it's only 1 game, but at the same time, you give up as many runs as they did. You fail to score. Really, the offense is sleepwalking through this game. Certainly some concerns for Red Sox fan, but who better to hear from on the state of the Boston Red Sox than Locked On's own Gabby with an instant reaction from the Boston Red Sox Locked On show. Let's hear what she had to say.
Allergic to the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm Gabby Maljanian from Locked On Red Sox, and what an absolute disaster of a game for the Red Sox tonight, losing 16-1 against the Tampa Bay Rays. Tanner Houck made the start, and his last spring training start against the Rays was incredibly rough. He threw 3 2/3 innings, giving up 10 earned runs. Tonight against the Rays, 2 1/3 innings, giving up 11 earned runs. So he obviously has some trouble pitching against the Tampa Bay Rays. Obviously a complete blowout. Not much you can really do about that. Just wasn't the Red Sox night and was absolutely the Rays night with the bats. Definitely an outing to forget for Tanner. Still time for the Red Sox to make up for it and hopefully win this series, but absolutely have to be better on all fronts. This baseball team is 100% underachieving compared to what they are capable of doing. Be sure to tune into Locked On Red Sox for more analysis on this game.
Oh, I think that says it all. Underachieving in all aspects. That's what stood out to me.
Now, if you want to take something good away as a Red Sox fan, Christian Campbell had a monster of a home run. It was the only run the Reds were able to bring across, and he hit it off the tarp on the left field walkway at Steinbrenner Field, and then it rolled out of the stadium. So he hit a monster home run. He's reached base safely in all 17 games that he's played so far this year. Again, though, that was the only run to come across for the Red Sox, but Christian Campbell is somebody you could be excited about, and especially after performance like they got yesterday from, why am I blanking on his name? The starting pitcher that went from the White Sox to the Red Sox.
Chris Sale.
No, not Chris Sale. The young guy, and I'm blanking on his name right now. I always do this when I'm on the podcast live when it's recording, right? So anyway, they had a great start from him, and you can't underachieve if you're the Red Sox because there's too much expectations on this team, and so I feel for Gabby in terms of underachieving in the way that the Red Sox have started out so far.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Crochet. I'm sorry.
There it is. Crochet.
Yeah.
Garrett Crochet. Thank you.
Crochet. Yes. I was running back and forth as well, but we got a lot of people tuning in live. Say hello to Andrew AJT saying, let's go Mets. We'll get to that game in just a second. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights checking in as well. We appreciate the late night crowd up late with us, hanging out. And John, let's talk a little bit about those Padres. Their bats come alive late against the Cubs. Cubs actually led this one 3-1, but a couple of big innings for the Padres, and lo and behold, they win it rather easily, going away 10-4. The Padres undefeated at home. They're 11-0 at home. That's a franchise best, and they're off to a 14-3 start. That's a franchise best as well. Got to give a lot of credit to the Padres.
Yeah, the Petco Park was rocking in that game, and you could see it in the crowd. Now, Michael Busch for the Cubs did get the scoring started, like you mentioned, his third home run in 3 games. It was a 2-run homer. It snaps the Padres' streak of not allowing a run for 37 consecutive innings, and that, of course, goes back to their series against the Rockies and all the way back to their series against the A's. So there was 37 consecutive innings where they did not allow a run. And we'll talk about that Rockies scoreless streak a little bit later on when we get to Rockies-Dodgers. But Tatis homered in the 3rd. The Padres tie it up in the 6th with Oscar Gonzalez pinch hitting for Martin Maldonado with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Brad Keller gets him to strike out to end the inning. So you thought that was it for the threat. But then, bottom of the 7th, Nate Pearson gives up the lead for the Cubs. Tatis takes a walk. Arise doubles. Tatis gets to 3rd. Machado's intentionally walked. Gavin Sheets is up. A wild pitch scores Fernando Tatis Jr., making it 4-3. And then Sheets with the RBI single makes it 6-3. The Cubs got one back, though, thanks to Miguel Amaya scoring Pete Crow Armstrong. Then Tatis, his 2nd home run of the night, is a 2-run homer, makes it 8-4. Luis Arraez goes back-to-back with him with a little dink into the right field corner, into the Petco porch, makes it 9-4. They end up, taking it 10-4 over the Cubs, but just 2 NL teams just battling it out. Both teams are off to a great start. I know the Cubs did drop this one, but and they're not quite where the Padres are, but that was a fun game to watch. And I'll be honest with you, Jake, I tuned into the Cubs feed because I wanted to hear John Chambi call the game, and my wife was like, "Hey, isn't that the guy from MLB The Show?" And I was like, yes, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, there you go. Major points for the wife there. No doubt. But he's shown why he's one of the most exciting, prolific stars in the game today. Both home runs. I mean, the second one was just an absolute bomb. And look out, NL West. Look out, Dodgers, because the Padres are for real. There's no doubt about that. And how about we stay in the NL West with the San Francisco Giants? They beat the Phillies 10-4. And both these teams are off to a good start, but man, the Giants continue to cruise as well. Phillies actually got off to the better start in this one with some runs early on, but that Giants offense is loaded. They respond with a 6-run top of the 2nd. And you just keep talking about this Giants team, about the way that they can win in so many different ways.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I know Castellanos homered in this one, but I just want everybody to know that I believe the 6.0 earthquake in San Diego today was before Castellanos homered, so I don't think it was his fault. It wasn't one of those situations where he hits a home run and something bad in the world happens.
In any case, it's something crazy happened. Castellanos home run. It's the safest bet in all of sports.
Hey, we talked about Mike Yastrzemski a couple of days ago. How about another big day for that guy? A 3 RBI day, 2 RBIs came on a 2-run homer. Somebody pay attention to. It looks like he's really helping to carry this Giants team in the early part of the season, Jake.
Absolutely. And this Giants team, again, I mean, that NL West, how many times can we say it, is so loaded. And it'll be an interesting series to keep an eye on all week because, of course, we'll be with you every night this week on MLB Game Night, the Giants and the Phillies. We're going to take a quick break. And coming up, we've got more games to unpack, more games to discuss, and we'll hear from some other Locked On hosts as well as MLB Game Night rolls along right here on Locked On MLB. This episode of the Locked On MLB Game Night is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Baseball season is here, and the best baseball snack is waiting for you. Grab some Wonderful Pistachios today at wonderfulpistachios.com. It's a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, filled with a good source of protein. And you know what? If you're watching as much ball as we are, there's times where you feel like you just want to uncrack that shell and get into some Wonderful Pistachios. That's the perfect snack for you. And it's also a healthy snack. That's right. It's the better unsaturated fat for you, and it packs a mean protein punch as well. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber. So maybe pick up the ones without the shells or with shells. Either way, it's a wonderful snack. And if you love cracking open the shell for the satisfying crunch, go with the shell ends. Both are a classic and a favorite. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, cruising right along on Locked On MLB Game Night. Jake Riepma alongside John Frisch. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma and John Frisch at Super Halo Bros. Also the host of Locked On Angels, me, Locked On Tigers postcasts, among other Locked On Detroit postcasts. And you know what? Together we're teaming up for a little Locked On MLB Game Night tonight. And John, my friend, let's get into the second slate of games. And we begin with that Yankees-Royals game, with the Yankees winning 4-1. 4 home runs in this one for the Yankees, all solo shots. A little rematch action of the postseason matchup from last year goes the way of the Bronx Bombers.
That's right. Ben Rice, who buy your Ben Rice stocks right now, everybody, especially if you're playing fantasy baseball. I was able to snag him up easily last week. And so Ben Rice with a solo shot, Austin Wells had one as well, Jazz Chisholm had one, and Trent Grisham, who hasn't bat over 200 in the last 3 years, also had a solo shot. Jake, listen to this. So far in 2025, he's got a 343 average, a 410 on base, a 714 slugging. That adds up to a 1.125 OPS, 9 home runs in 76 games last year. Jake, Trent Grisham already has 4 home runs in 14 games this year. Does he have one of those torpedo bats? Does anybody know?
Something like that. Whatever he's doing is working. But tell you what, we want to hear from some of the Locked On hosts and some of the local experts. So for that, let's turn to Locked On Yankees, where Brian has a reaction on this one.
Jason Dominguez put on an absolute clinic in left field. He still gets pulled at the end of the game. Solid win for the Yankees. They score 4 runs on 4 solo shots, proving chicks still dig the long ball. A nice performance out of Carlos Carrasco. The bullpen looked really good. We'll discuss all of it on this week's editions of Locked On Yankees. You can follow and find it wherever you get all your podcasts, including YouTube, where we stream every single day.
Chicks still dig the long ball. That's what I learned from that. How about that? But you know what? Brian's right. I mean, you hit 4 home runs and the pitching does what it does. You're going to win a lot of those ball games.
Yeah, exactly. And even though they were solo shots, it really came down to the Yankees pitching and holding the Royals to just the 1 run. And guess who scored that 1 run? It was Bobby Witt Jr. And so he's going to be the one to drive in that run. But at the end of the day, look, the home runs are great, but when there's nobody on, it can be a little bit frustrating as a fan. So props to the Yankees for still getting it done with the 4 solo shots in this one.
Let's hear from Locked On Royals host Jack on the result from the Royals perspective.
Offense continues to sputter as the Royals drop Game 1 in New York 4-1 to the Yankees, and up until the 9th, the Royals only had 1 run on 1 hit thanks to Bobby Witt Jr., and they didn't really have many opportunities all night long other than the first inning and the 9th inning to get something done. My main takeaway in this is, what more can you ask from the pitching? I mean, Seth Lugo, yes, let's be very honest about his outing tonight. Too many fastballs left middle. 4 solo home runs is not going to cut it in any outing. But 7 innings of 4-run ball, it is going to win you some baseball games. You just have to rely on the offense to give you more than 1 run. And for this Royals offense, it's the outfield problems. It's some of the guys they're counting on not starting the season as well. I mean, there is obviously a ton of time, as we all know. It's only 17 games into the season. But at some point, this offense is going to have to click. We're going to talk about it here coming up on the newest edition of Locked On Royals.
And John, I think a lot of teams, I mean, league-wide are struggling offensively, but it doesn't make it any easier to come to terms with your offense struggling.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're a fan of a team watching a game like this where you can only put 1 run across home plate for a starting pitching outing. You know, Seth Lugo, not his best start, like Jack mentioned. However, Seth Lugo is keeping you in the game when it's only those 4 runs scored. And so for the offense to not deliver more than the 1 run, that can be really frustrating as a fan. Definitely understand that. But as he said, 17 games, 18 games into the season for some of these clubs, still early. I'm somebody who believes, like, let's finish out April and look back at where we're at for any club and really assess what you've done so far, what needs to change, what needs to improve, who needs to step up. Give yourselves a month, and we've got a lot of baseball left to be played for sure.
The Braves would certainly be singing that same tune as a team that came out of the gates very slow, but they get the win tonight, 8-4 over the Toronto Blue Jays, and kind of a game that saw it all, including the Braves field reporter trying to pick up women's phone numbers, if you saw that. So this game had a little bit of everything, but in the end, it's the Braves winning 8-4. Let's hear a little reaction from the Locked On Braves channel with Jake giving us the reaction.
The Atlanta Braves get the big win that they have been searching for, a blowout win over the Toronto Blue Jays on Monday night. Jake Mastriani here from Locked On Braves, and this game was exactly what the Atlanta Braves needed. Austin Riley, 2 big home runs, certainly love to see that, but the story of the game for me was Grant Holmes. Looking like the spot in the rotations right now are kind of up for grabs. Neither of these guys in the back end have looked particularly great. Grant Holmes only going 4 innings and walking 4 batters in each of his first 2 starts. He needed this, but even more so, the Braves needed this. They've had to get too many innings out of their bullpen, which is absolutely taxed right now. So Grant Holmes giving them length, not giving this Blue Jays team any hope after the Braves take a huge 8-0 lead. Gotta love that from Grant Holmes. A great start for him and a great win for the Atlanta Braves. We'll talk more about it over on the postcast and on Locked On Braves.
Thank you, Jake. And the other game going on in Milwaukee, the Tigers now lead the American League with 10 wins. Tarik Skubal, 7 scoreless innings. He's back to throwing the way he was when he earned the Cy Young last year. And the Detroit Tigers have this ability that they've shown in the early portion of the season to jump on the opposition early. They're one of the best teams at scoring runs early, 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second. And you spot Tarik Skubal a 4-run lead, you're going to win a lot of those games.
Absolutely. Keeping him in there. Now, Brewers manager Pat Murphy had a little bit to say about this game. He said, this is the 4th time we've been blown out in 17 games. We didn't get blown out 4 times in 162 last year, I don't think. So that is concerning. Really tonight, it was the defense that let us down. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the score 9-1, and the Tigers were able to pour it on the way that they've done, that's going to come down to your defense not making the plays they should be making. And that's a really interesting point there that, we had 4 bad games across the whole season, and now we've had them in such a short stint. That's not going to feel good if you're a Brewers fan.
Right, especially riding the high from the postseason appearance last year, and just as it's been a ball club that has been relatively consistent over the years, and just certainly sputtering out of the gates to begin things. And then on the flip side, Kenta Maeda gave up a run in the 9th inning to ruin the shutout, but had somebody else been pitching, then the corpse that is Kenta Maeda up there in the 9th inning and the shutout preserved, that would have been 3 shutouts in 6 games for the Tigers. So the pitching staff has been phenomenal. You get a little bit of offense, and like I said, you're going to win a lot of those games. Kerry Carpenter had his 5th home run of the season here, and the Tigers have won the first game of now 5 consecutive series after being swept by the Dodgers to begin the series, but going for a 5th consecutive series win tomorrow. And I think I'm qualified to tell you that they are feeling good in Detroit about their ball club right now.
I imagine
leading the American League. But we've got some post-game reaction from this one. Let's hear from my guy, Scott Bentley. Had him on the Postcast show over the weekend, always covering the Detroit Tigers on Locked On Tigers. Here's what Scott had to say post-game.
Oh, looks like we don't have Scott. Darn it.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll give my best Scott Bentley impression. Good friend of mine. Probably like Tarik Skubal, 7 scoreless. I will add, I meant to add this note earlier. Tarik Skubal became the first Tigers pitcher since 2000 to register a start in which he recorded 7 scoreless innings, 9+ strikeouts, and 0 walks. So obviously just hammering and pounding the strike zone there. Do we have a post-game reaction from Chuck on the Brewers side of things?
We most certainly do. Let's get to that right now.
Brewers are facing some tough pitching as of late, and they're going through one of those slides right now where they just can't get out of their own way. Chuck Freeman here. Instant reaction following the Brewers' 9-1 loss to the Tigers. They've lost 3 in a row as they open up this homestand with a loss. Skubal pitched on Monday night, and he was great. 4 hits through 7 innings, but when the Tigers took a 2-0 lead in the top of the first inning, that was it right there. The Brewers really didn't show much, maybe a little fight once they got down 9-0, but the defense wasn't there behind Alexander. Plus, he really didn't pitch all that well. Some hard contact, and the Brewers lose. They got behind 8-0, and that was that. And you ain't coming back against Skubal down 2 or 4-0 after a couple of innings, and that was the case with the Brewers tonight. Again, the bats are a little silent right now. Got to get them going. We'll see how they do against Flaherty coming up on Tuesday night.
That's a tough back-to-back right there. You got to go Skubal, then Flaherty if you're the Brewers. Ouch.
Yeah, the Tigers have certainly built the front end of that rotation up to be very formidable. And probably a big reason why they've won a lot of these series by taking the first 2 games, because you get that 1-2 punch with Skubal and Flaherty. But we'll take a quick timeout and recap the rest and tie a bow on it next on a live Locked On MLB Game Night. This episode of the Locked On MLB Game Night is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. No. It's much more than that. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts and investments and spending in one place. So managing your money is easy to do, even with a partner, because you can track and share personal accounts. You can set goals together and stay on the same page without the stress, right? Get rid of the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com, LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, and use that code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. We are cruising right along on a live Locked On MLB Game Night. Jake Riepma alongside John Frisch. And John, let's close the book and tie a bow on on another exciting evening in Major League Baseball. Astros, Cardinals. The Cardinals bats come alive. Framber Valdez struggles a little bit, and the Redbirds take this one 8-3.
Yeah, not your typical Framber Valdez start. I know he had kind of a stinker 2 starts ago, but for the most part, pretty consistent guy. But in this one, 4 innings pitched, 10 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned, and 3 Ks. Again, not your typical Framber Valdez start. However, Sonny Gray was great for the Cardinals. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and no earnies for Sonny Gray. So that's the story of this game. 8-3 Cardinals. It's going to be a good pitching performance from Sonny Gray, and that's what's going to get you through, especially when the offense adds on like they did.
No doubt about that. Let's hear from JD and the Locked On Cardinals as he recaps this one from his perspective and the Redbird faithful. Here's JD.
The St. Louis Cardinals get another stellar performance from Sonny Gray while racking up 14 hits in a win over the Astros. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and the boys got back to the 500 mark on the year at 8-8 after dismantling Framber Valdez and the Astros 8-3 on Monday night at Busch. Sonny Gray fires 7 shutout innings and was as efficient as we've seen him all year, striking out 4, throwing just 92 pitches before being lifted with the game in hand. Since giving up that grand slam to Logan O'Hoppe in his second start, Gray has allowed just 1 run and 6 hits and struck out 8 over 12 innings and moves to 3-0 on the year. Only 5 other starters in the league have 3 wins so far. As for the offense, Brendan Donovan continues to cook. He goes 4 for 4. He currently leads the National League with a .391 batting average. Nolan Arenado goes 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and his second long fly of the year and drives in 2 in the victory. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
Who was that he was referring to with a grand slam? Was that Angels catcher Logan O'Hoppe? I mean,
oh yeah, get your Angels FaceTime in. I was gonna say I want JD to narrate my life.
100%. Yeah,
he's getting up for a cup of coffee. He's moving. It just flows. It's natural, and that's what I'm here for. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We got a couple more on the live feed right now, but let's get to a last couple of games that we've got tonight. The Rockies actually put up a little bit of a fight there late because it had been very ugly for a long time, historically bad, in fact, but the Dodgers do come out with the win 5-3 in this one.
Yeah, we talked about earlier the Padres having that long scoreless streak from their pitching, and a lot of that was the Rockies, who went 32 2/3 innings scoreless. Jake, that's a franchise record. Now, it looked
not
like
the record you want to be setting either.
No, not at all. It looked like it was going to be more of the same. Ohtani had a big fly to dead center in this one. But Kyle Farmer, who didn't know that he ended up on the Rockies this season, he breaks the scoreless inning streak with an RBI double, down 5-1 against the Dodgers. Hunter Goodman, their catcher, adds on for the Rockies with a 2-run homer. Got a little dicey there for the Dodgers bullpen toward the end of this one, but they were able to keep it 5-3. So Rockies get over that scoreless inning streak, and the Dodgers keep on rolling. They're going to beat up on the Rockies a little bit to kind of pad that race in the NL West, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's no moral victories if you're the Rockies, but they had the tying run at first and the winning run at the plate in a first and third situation with 1 out, but just could not get it done. And last game on the docket, apologies to our Mets fans in the chat. It took us this long to get to it. That's on me. But hey, the Mets beat the struggling Twins. And my goodness, Minnesota really struggling out at the gates. But it was Joe Ryan and Clay Holmes going pitch for pitch over the first 5 innings. Joe Ryan was pretty good for the Twins, but you got to give the Mets a lot of credit there, breaking it open in the 6th. And how about Clay Holmes? 5 innings, 2 hits, just the 1 earned run. And I'm not going to take your line. You had the best line. I'll let you deliver it. How many strikeouts did he have?
Oh, Clay Holmes? He just had 8 Clays in
8
this
Clays. I love it. I love it. I love it. But the Mets going to keep on winning there. And I believe we've got a reaction from Ryan with Locked On Mets.
We do. Let's get to Ryan right now. Here we go.
The New York Mets just keep on winning. They beat the Twins 5-1 to open up their series in frigid Minnesota. This is Ryan Finkelstein, the host of Locked On Mets, and we saw a lot of things to like on Monday. Clay Holmes was brilliant through the first 4 innings. He did load the bases and maybe ran out of gas a little bit in the 5th, but he only gave up 1 run, got out of a bases-loaded jam without giving up a crooked number. So all in all, a really solid start by Holmes. The Mets bullpen was great from there, and the lineup continued to score runs throughout the night. Luis Acuna was my star of the game, 2 for 3, scored a couple runs, stole a base, played good defense at second base. He is proving right now to be the guy the Mets should be sticking with at second until Jeff McNeil comes back. And then, as I've mentioned on the show, I wouldn't mind seeing him play a little bit of center field when McNeil is back. I feel like this kid needs to play if he's up in the big leagues. He's looking pretty good lately. You saw Juan Soto homer for the first time since opening day. Mark Vientos, a big RBI double. Just a great complete victory for the New York Mets, and I'll be talking about it all on tomorrow's edition of Locked On Mets.
There you go. Thank you, Finkelstein. And Juan Soto going yard. Things are going in the right direction for the Mets.
Now, we can't gloss over Nationals versus Pirates. So the Mets fans out there, you weren't last because we have Nationals and Pirates, a 10-3 Pirates victory, Jake.
How about that? Paul Skenes gets the win as well. I knew I was missing something. I
wouldn't let you forget, buddy. I got you.
Yeah. Well, and the Pirates don't win very often. So anytime they do, we got to at least give them their flowers. So I'm glad you're steering the ship there.
They needed the offense, man. It's been pretty lacking lately, but it was a big offensive day for them. Brian Reynolds had 2 RBIs. Emmanuel Valdez, 2 for 2 with 2 walks, 3 RBI day and a double, and Ke'Bryan Hayes with a 3 RBI day, and lots of run support for Paul Skenes, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, and 6 strikeouts. So, a pretty standard start for Paul Skenes. But how about we go to the other side of things and hear from Ryan of the Washington Nationals Locked On Nationals show. Let's get to that one right now.
Well, so much for that Dylan Cruz, Paul Skenes matchup for the Nationals tonight. It was not a pretty one for either of those, but thank you all for tuning in to Locked On Nationals. I'm the host, Ryan Clary. Let's get into this YouTube short. The Nationals, they lost 10-3 tonight. Brad Lord on the bump was not his best start overall. 3 1/3 innings pitch, gave up a few earned runs, or 4 1/3 innings pitch rather, but still you get the point. It was not very good tonight. But let's get into this. Davey Martinez batting Dylan Cruz, 8th in the lineup with 0 protection. He was in between Nasim Nunez, who did get a hit in tonight's game. Also, Paul DeJong, who got a couple of hits as well. But still, Dylan Cruz needs to be protected by James Wood. And when CJ Abrams, when he's back, he needs to be between them. And Davey Martinez needs to give this guy every chance he can to succeed. Let's talk about that on tomorrow's Locked On Nationals.
Makes sense, man. You got to have protection, and especially you think about the way that lineup could look. You got me with that one. But the way that lineup could look, though, with James Wood, Dylan Cruz, and CJ Abrams all back together. I mean, the Nats have something cooking in DC. So I
completely, I agree. It's not the Nats of years past that have just been lacking any kind of firepower in that sense. And so a loss like this is disappointing, especially when you had that exciting pitching matchup to be ready for. But unfortunately for the Nats, it just does not go their way. I think that does it. Do we have a reaction from Gary on this one too?
Yeah, we can hear from Gary right now. Let's to his reaction from the Pirates side. Here we go.
Rebound from a really rough weekend in Cincinnati to take a 10-3 victory in Game 1 of the 4-game set against the Washington Nationals at PNC Park. And for some of you who watch MLB Game Night every night here on Locked On, you're getting to see a happy Gary for like the first time ever. So congratulations to you and the hosts who get to see it for the first time. Everybody contributed up and down the lineup. The most amazing thing of all was they put Valdez in the cleanup spot, and Pittsburgh erupted online. So, of course, he got on base 4 times and had 3 RBIs in the cleanup spot. I still don't think it's going to be a popular spot, but hey, Big win for the Bucks. They really needed it bad. Super good feeling. And this early in the season, that'll affect some numbers, which will kind of help morale a little bit. 10-3, really good score. Not a single home run in the batch. So that's a lot of hits and a lot of average, which is where they look the worst, which they need badly. Oh, yeah, and Paul Skenes pitched. 6 innings, clean, 1 earned run. He's not the story tonight, though. The Bucks are, and the Bats.
Happy Gary. How about that?
I love a happy Gary. It's about time we got a happy Gary.
Exactly. What a way to end it with happy Gary, and everybody sporting the Pittsburgh Pirates goes home happy with the win and the Paul Skenes win as well. So I believe that about does it for us on MLB Game Night.
We're done.
Okay. You had me nervous there that I forgot another one, but we covered all the bases. A round tripper here. It's always a home run on Locked On MLB Game Night. John Frisch, my friend, any final thoughts?
Hey, you know what? When the story of the day is not the starting pitcher like Paul Skenes, that's a good day for Pirates fans. So, man, yeah, just a lot of big games, big deals. Padres, Cubs, again, a huge game, and seeing the Giants and the Phillies, just some heavy hitters colliding to start out this fourth week of baseball. Is that all it's been so far? Man, that feels like a million years, Jake.
It's been an eternity. All right, it's getting late. Thanks as always for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow night on Locked On MLB Game Night. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hey, maybe even tell a friend or two about Locked On MLB Game Night. He's John Frisch. I'm Jake Riepma. See you tomorrow night. Thanks for tuning in to Locked On MLB Game Night.